This is a landlord-tenant dispute on claims of breach of contract and negligence and seeking actual damages in the amount of $4,882.
Ms. Breen, do you want to say anything now, or would you like to wait until Ms. Taylor's concluded?
Oh, wait, thank you, Your Honor.
Absolutely. All right. Ms. Taylor, would you like to call yourself as your first witness or someone else?
Let me call myself. That way I can sort of establish what's going on and set
Okay.
the stage, and then I'll call my witnesses in order of relevance, I think, here. And please forgive me. I always get a little nervous when I'm in this setting, so I'm gonna do my best. I might need to, take a minute and go a little slowly so I can make sure I get the information that's needed. Please stop me if I talk too fast or if I'm not being clear. Thank you.
Will do, Ms. Taylor.
Um, yeah, thank you. So, Ms. Breen was my tenant. She began occupancy on August 25th of 2024. We do have on record here the residential lease agreement as Exhibit 1, which I would like to submit that into the record at this time, if possible. The court should have a copy of that. On February, do I need to slow down for that?
Just one moment. I'm taking a look at it. So
Okay.
I got 17 pages. I'm going to show Ms. Breen what was submitted. Make sure there's
Okay.
right. This is a copy of the lease between the parties. All right, Ms. Breen. Ms. Taylor submitted this in advance. She said this is a copy of a lease between the parties. I can see at the top it claims to be 17 pages. That doesn't necessarily mean it's a 17-page lease. Looks like it's a 16-page lease, and then the 17th page is the proof that it was submitted to the court. All right. Ms. Breen, is this an accurate copy of the lease between the two parties?
It is, Your Honor. However, there was like an addendum or
Okay.
an additional.
Is that correct, Ms. Taylor? There's addendums to this?
I'm getting there. That's exhibit number 2, which I would like to submit. Yes. So it was a special provision, I believe, of this
Okay.
lease called this.
Yeah. This is the lease, so admitted. All right, so we got a lease between the parties,
Okay.
and the lease had addendums. All right.
Yeah, special provision called the Casita sublease agreement, which I'll present into the record. I'm sorry, no, we're not a court of record here. Sorry, as exhibit number 2 for the
You're
court.
fine. Let me show it. All right. So here's number 2. This is supposed to be the addendum. Sublease of Casita. Ms. Breen, is
Yes.
this accurate copy of the one of the addendums to the lease?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Lease addendum for Casita.
And so I think that this here, exhibit number 2, the Casita sublease agreement, is sort of the primary controlling document. The provisions of the main lease also apply. This was sort of like a supplemental piece that allowed Ms. Breen. So it's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath main house, which she lived in as a residence, and I permitted. It also has a casita on the back side of the property, like a guest house. Part of the agreement was that Ms. Breen would live in the main house, and I allowed her to use to sublease the casita as a short-term rental, or however she saw fit. So this exhibit number 2 really kind of governs what our agreement was around that. And I would like to kind of highlight that in this agreement, I think one of the most important provisions here in terms of the breach of contract claim is item number 13, which states that the tenant agrees to release landlord from any and all liability pertaining to tenant's patrons, guests, or invitees. Tenant takes full responsibility for their sublease and or business operations and agrees to hold landlord harmless of any and all liabilities which arise out of the course of tenant's sublease and or business operations. Okay, so I think that that's one of the main provisions that we need to look at. There's a couple others on here that I think are relevant as well. But I'd like to kind of explain first what happened and how we landed here in front of you today. On February 18th, 2025, I did receive a voicemail from Ms. Breen at about 7 p.m. Central Time, stating that she had a short-term rental guest staying in the casita and that a drain was clogged. I guess there was water backing up in one of the drains. Oh, no. I'm sorry. Let me back up. That came next. Sorry. I first actually received a text message from a plumber saying that we're on the way to your house to fix the drain. And I didn't have any heads up around what, like, Kristen hadn't contacted me. And as per our lease, if I'm to be responsible for repair, I need to be contacted first in writing and all that. So anyway, I get a message from a plumber, and I said, well, hang on a second, let me contact the tenant and see what's going on. I don't have any knowledge of anything happening with the plumbing. And so I called Kristen. I left a voicemail for Ms. Breen. I said, hey, I don't know what's going on, but there's procedures we need to follow if there's something going on that I'm going to be responsible for.
Ms. Taylor,
Mhm.
when was that text message?
That text message was on February 18th at about, that was at about 7 p.m.
What year?
February 18th. I'm sorry, 2025.
All right, go ahead.
So I called Ms. Breen. She didn't answer. I left a voicemail, said, hey, let me know what's going on. You know, we have provisions we need to follow if there's something happening. So I left her a voicemail. Ms. Breen did contact me back a little while later. I think I was out to dinner and not near my phone or something. So she left me a voicemail and said, yes, we have a tenant staying. There's a clogged drain. We've called a plumber to take care of the situation. We'll pay for it, is what she had said, which is per our lease agreement. That would be proper. So, okay, we're there. Ms. Breen then, I believe it was on or around March 3rd, she asked to terminate her lease early, stating that she had a job offer in another state. Under the provisions of our lease, that's permitted if I agree and provided she find a new tenant. So I did agree to that. Ms. Breen secured a new tenant. The new tenant, her lease began, she took occupancy of the property on April 14th, 2025. So Ms. Breen was responsible for the property up until April 13th, 2025. I did a walk through the property on April 2nd, 2025. Everything looked fine. I didn't have any reason to look behind the casita. On the back side, I didn't have any reason to go back. That's where the grinder pump is. So we have an issue here with the grinder pump and some overflow. That's kind of why we're here. I didn't have any reason to look back there. Ms. Breen never really informed me what kind of work was done. I assumed it was a clogged drain.
Ms. Taylor, after you knew that plumbing work was done on the property, per the phone conversation to the voicemails in February, did you inquire back or follow up with Miss Breen after she left you the voicemail that said, there's a clog, we're fixing it?
I did not. I didn't see any
You
reason
did not
to.
inquire any further about it.
I
That
didn't
was
think
it.
there was a reason to. Correct.
All right. But when you went to do an inspection, you did not check any of the plumbing related to the casita.
I didn't have so the grinder pump is on the outside of the casita.
Miss Taylor,
So
not
no,
asking to explain
I did
yourself.
not.
I'm just asking, yes or no. You
No,
didn't
I
actually
did.
check any of the plumbing despite knowing that a plumbing fix had occurred 2 months prior.
We checked to make sure the toilet was flushing and that there was no backup inside.
But
Yes,
didn't
but no,
look
I didn't
outside
look
of it.
outside. Correct.
All right.
That's
Okay,
correct.
go ahead.
Yes. So on April 20th, I received a text message from my neighbor, Jesse Leger, who's here as a witness, and he provided photographs, which I would like to submit into evidence, and I'll have him testify that he took those. Let me see what number they are. Just give me just a moment here. We should have photographs here. Yeah, exhibit number 3 and exhibit number 4. I'd like to submit those into the record as photographs of the problem. So that was April 20th, 2025. Jesse, I believe, was replacing, he's my next door neighbor, he's replacing his fence, and he saw right there on the grinder pump at the back side of the casita that it was all full of water and had a foul smell. If we could could we bring those photos up now to show the court?
So your new tenant has been there for 6 days. They don't
Yes.
say anything. Your neighbor who's just doing something spotted it and texted you.
Correct.
All right. And they said this is exhibit 4.
Exhibit 3 and exhibit 4.
Let's see. Is 3 a video or is it photo? So video, but what we have as part is 3 is a video. We can't show that, but I can show you the photo we got.
There
Here's
should
a
have been
photo.
photos as well. If not, we can link into the video maybe. So that's the unplugged alarm of the grinder pump, which shouldn't have been unplugged. Because the grinder pump will, like,
Right,
if it's
Ms.
clogged,
Taylor,
they'll alarm.
keep moving in your story because the photo may
Okay.
not be useful or relevant to me determining the facts of the situation. So,
Okay, actually,
okay. Neighbor sent you photos of something. What happened after you got the photos?
Okay, so after I got the photos from Jesse, I contacted Kristen to find out what happened, like what kind of repairs were done when you had the plumber out here in February. And Kristen confirmed that I got the name of the plumber, and I'll get into that in a minute, but she confirmed that the plumber cleared the line and that he replaced the grinder pump motor, which would constitute a material change, which is not permitted. Furthermore, the property was not in working condition because the toilet was flushing on the inside, but it was flushing into the yard on the outside, apparently. So I contacted Texas Reliable Services, who we have here as a witness here. That's Mr. Nestor Vincent, to come out and inspect to see what had happened. And he informed me that somebody had tampered with the grinder pump. The lid was not put back on properly. The screws were stripped. And what had happened was all kinds of water and rocks and debris had gone into the grinder pump and destroyed the motor. And that alarm was also unplugged. And I know for a fact that that alarm was plugged in when I handed the property over to Miss Breen back in August of 2024, because I had to actually walk her around to show her that. And I had to show her where the water shut off. If in any case there's a, an overflow, this alarm goes off, you have to turn the water, don't unplug it, turn the water supply off and call a plumber. So I know for a fact, because the day she came to get her keys, I had shown her that. Sort of an important little part of the property that you got to know, especially if you're having guests staying out there in the casita. So I know that everything was in good shape and as it should have been. So the
Ms.
fact that the
Taylor,
grinder,
Ms. Taylor, you said that Miss Breen found a new tenant who moved in on the 14th.
correct?
Does the new tenant have a similar lease to Miss Breen?
No, she did, yes.
Does the new tenant have the right to sublease that casita as well?
She did, but she did not.
That's
She
not my
didn't.
question. Does the
Okay,
lease
yes.
you signed with the person that replaced Miss Breen give that tenant the right to sublease and make money off the casita?
Yes.
So the thing that she received was not ready to sublet the day she got it.
Wait, I'm sorry, say again.
You said that when Miss Breen moved out, you walked around the property but didn't check this important plump that you made sure you told Miss Breen about the day she moved in. So my question is, why wouldn't you show that to the new tenant who had the same exact rights as Miss Breen?
I no longer reside in Texas, so I wasn't present. It was something I probably
You
verbally
walked the
told.
property. You said you walked the
I
property on
did. That
April
was in
2nd.
April. Yeah, I came back to do the inspection and all that.
That's what
Yes.
I'm saying again here. You said you had no reason to check it, yet you leased it to the new person to use it and did not inspect it on the second when you were present there or have anyone check it before you leased it to the new tenant.
I didn't have any reason
Ms. Taylor, that's
check it.
correct, right? You
That's
made sure
correct.
you pointed out to Miss Breen, but you did not point it out to the new tenant because you didn't even realize it was messed up until the neighbor told you about it.
I did mention it to the new tenant about the water shut off and the alarm,
Sure, but
but
you
I
didn't
did
show it
walk
to
her
them
through
like you
it.
did Miss Breen. Therefore, it
I
wasn't
wasn't
discovered
present.
until the neighbor showed it.
I wasn't present to show it to her, correct? Yeah.
All right, so you call Texas Reliable Services. They come out, they inspect, they say motor's destroyed, the alarm's unplugged. What happened next?
So they did something, I don't know exactly what they did. We have it on one of the receipts, but they cleared the line or something like that, but then discovered that, hey, this is like a total replacement. This thing's completely destroyed. And that's when I called on.
Real quick, Miss Taylor. You said Texas Reliable Services did some work for it.
Yes,
Do you have that receipt?
I do. Yeah, let me see here on my list. That would be Exhibit 7, P7.
Okay.
And
Does
they
the
can
work
testify here in a minute to
did,
what they did.
does the receipt indicate if the work they did also cleared the line?
Uh, I would have to actually look at it. I don't know for sure if I can pull it up. Hold on, let me look.
Let's take a look together.
Okay. Service fee and diagnostic evaluation for the first
Okay,
hour
Miss
visit.
Taylor. Miss Taylor, can you see my screen?
Hold on. Oh, shoot. Hang on a minute. I lost you. Okay, there we are. Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely. All right, Miss Taylor, can you see this? It looks like a Gmail, but it's receipt from Texas Reliable Services.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, is this accurate? Is this the receipt?
That is, hold on a minute. Yeah, that looks like the receipt.
Okay, let's take a look here. I'm gonna zoom in because I can't read this either, y'all.
Yeah, I can't see it. I have my glasses.
Yeah, no. So this one says it's a receipt, Texas Reliable Services, May 11th, 2025. So makes about sense here. Your receipt for service done on May 1st, right? Invoice sent to you on the 11th, Susan Taylor. Plumbing services, cost and services, because this is just the generic standard stuff, but this is the actual, like, what got done.
Mm-hmm.
Sewer line issue. Sewer line is experiencing the same issue as in 2023, grinder pump problems. So problem pre-existed.
Well,
Sewer
I
issue
need to
again.
speak to that for a moment, and I can
Well,
have
Miss
TRS.
Taylor, you'll get
Okay,
a chance to respond. I'm reading the historical document you provided.
gotcha.
Sewer line is experiencing the same issue as in 2023. That doesn't negate your claim. It's on the
Mhm.
document.
Yeah, yeah.
Sewer line services, sewer line stoppage, loosen the cap, open it up, let the bilge drain out, feed the auger cable, run the auger. So May, I'm curious because you said that Miss Breen had that done. So well,
I
again,
believe
I don't
what
know.
I
Questions I have.
Well, right, but what I was told is all the like debris and stuff had gone in it because her plumber, I'm assuming it was her plumber, didn't put the lid back on correctly. And so
Okay.
that it was clogged again, is
All
my
right.
understanding.
Scope of work, followed a comprehensive inspection, determined that the 2-inch discharge lines obstructed. Issue after clearing out sewer line. Able to move Clog. Attempted to run the grinder pump. It failed to start. Inspect the pump. Grinder pump cover was broken. Missing screws and seals. It wasn't installed properly back. It has been tampered with since last visit we did 2 years ago. Okay. Dirt and mud around the pump's been falling into the basin. Debris got into it, causing it to jam up. Right now, the pump is not functioning due to the buildup. All right. This is a clear, just right here. Here's for the conclusion of the expert that the reason it keeps happening is that the pump cap isn't working. Best solution: remove the tank and pump. Recommend a new grinder pump system and setting it properly to avoid force emissions. All right. Kind of a combination of things. New pump needed.
This,
All right,
I would just want to
Ms.
give
Taylor.
testimony that this, and part of the history of this, 2023, Texas Reliable Services and George Canis of Solar Plumbing installed a brand new grinder pump because the original contractor who built the unit didn't put in the right kind of pump. He put in like a sump pump. And so we had obviously had problems with that. So it was a brand new install of a grinder pump in July of 2023 by Texas Reliable Services and George Canis of Solar Plumbing. So that had solved that issue that I was had. So that was like not an issue with the current pump. We didn't have
Okay.
any, once that was done, we had no issues with plumbing stuff
All
on
right.
it.
So, Ms. Taylor, they came out May 1st. Texas Reliable does repair. What happens next?
Yeah, and then because the diagnosis was that a complete redo of the grinder pump was needed, I call in my man George Canis of Solo Plumbing.
Ms. Taylor, at the time that Texas Reliable finished, was the pump working?
I don't know, it was not working. That's why we had to replace the whole thing. They
Okay.
couldn't get it to work because the motor, it was completely, well, they can give testimony here in a minute.
All
I
right.
don't know exactly, but so we had
All
to
right.
order a new grinder pump and labor. And so that's where George Canis Solo Plumbing comes in. I do have a receipt for all of that. That would be Exhibit 8, Exhibit 9, Exhibit 10, and Exhibit 11.
All right. When did the new pump get installed?
I think it was around May 5th, if I'm remembering correctly.
All right. What was the total cost for the new pump?
Well, I gotta do a little math here on my phone if you don't mind. So the grinder pump itself was $1,414.61, and then there was some supplies, $48.42, 189.79, and then 2,500 for the labor. So whatever that totals. Actually, I have it. Well, that includes the Texas Reliable Services. I have a document, Exhibit 13, which actually lays out all of the damages, if that helps the court.
Is that historical or is that something you made for court?
I made this for court.
Mm. Here's receipts that you submitted. I'll just share those real quick.
Okay.
So this was one Ferguson, May 2nd, Ferguson Solo Plumbing Services. I can't actually see what it says because it was scanned in. It's too big, but I can see
Okay.
that it's meant to be some sort of a receipt. And then this one
Yeah.
is Exhibit 9, Austin, North Mays, Emergency Response 3E Company, Counter Pickup, Solo Plumbing Services. Looks like 3 pieces of pipe, maybe? Something for drain cleaner, weighed something, looks like $48.42. That was what you said, plumbing supplies. And then this one, oh goodness.
Yes.
Okay, and here's that 189. So here's the rest of the supplies. And then you said 2,500 for labor.
Yes.
That's the only one I don't see.
That should be exhibit number 11.
Oh, okay. Receipt. Got it. There it is. Okay, this is a text message. Ms. Taylor, is this a
Oh,
screen?
I do. No, I know that I resubmitted. Shoot, you know what? I had prepared for an in-person hearing. I have the actual invoice on that, and I'm sorry I didn't resubmit this because, hold on, I can get it to the court right now.
That's
P11.
fine. Miss Taylor, you're fine.
Okay, have an
Just
invoice.
testify for me. Here. You
Okay,
spent $1,114.61 for a new grinder pump. Is that correct? Yes or no?
that is correct.
And you spent $48 and another $189.79 on various supplies. Is that correct?
Correct. Yes.
And what did you receive as a bill for labor, just the labor?
2,500.
And it was that even?
Yes.
There's literally no pennies or changes on that.
No.
Okay. And was that everything that it cost you to get the new pump installed and purchased?
Yes, that plus the 450 from Texas Reliable.
What's that for?
That was what we just spoke about, how they came on
Oh,
the
the
scene
initial
first.
diagnosis. Okay.
Correct.
That's
Yes.
to diagnose the problem, but to fix the problem, everything there was the 114 or the 1114, 48, 189, and 2500.
Correct.
Okay. All right. All right. So the new pump gets installed. It's repair. Is it working then?
Yes.
Fantastic. All right. What happens after you get the pump installed?
So we get the pump installed. I was going back and forth with Miss Breen. You know, as soon as I discovered the problem, I texted her. We had some email exchanges, and I really was giving her the opportunity to reach an agreement with me. I really didn't want to end up here in court, Your Honor. I had several emails back and forth. She refused to reach any kind of agreement, thinking that she didn't really have any liability in this. I obviously don't agree with that, since that's why we're here. I just want the court to know that I really did my best due diligence and good faith to try to reach an agreement
That's
on
fine.
that.
All
Okay.
right. Ms. Taylor, if I get the gist of the case, because I read your petition,
Yeah.
you allowed the defendant to be able to make money by subleasing the property. Now, as a part of that sublease, she took on responsibilities as the landlord for the casita. And meaning that if needed to repairs to be done, she took on the onus for taking those repairs. You gave her a pre-approved list of plumbers. Is that my understanding?
These two that are here as witnesses today, yes.
Okay, so you said if you need to make plumbing repairs, these are the two plumbers that you can use.
I said if there's an emergency and you can't reach me, these are the two people that I approve. She wasn't bound, she didn't have, there was nothing that said she absolutely was bound to use these
Okay.
people.
So
Yeah.
defendant had access to do, you gave her some preferred plumbers, but she had freedom of choice whoever she wanted to use.
Yes.
All right. But it's your contention that she chose a plumber who did it badly, and because the plumber she chose was negligent, she's responsible for the ultimate damage to the pump.
Well, the negligence piece, I believe, falls on Ms. Breen, because the plumber she hired was, I would like to submit this onto the record, Sanchez Plumbing LLC has no right to do business in Texas. Their LLC is expired or no longer active, and that's Exhibit 12.
That's my point, though, Ms. Taylor. You're suing her for the damage because she didn't get it repaired. Right?
I'm sorry.
You rented to her a house that had a working pump and a casita, and she returned to you a casita that did not have a working pump.
Thank you. Yes,
And so you're suing her for the cost that it takes to fix the pump, which,
that's correct.
if I understand correctly, Miss Breen attempted to fix, but you're saying that her fix failed, and ultimately she's still on the hook to fix it.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Completely
Yes.
reasonable situation. All right.
Okay.
Anything else other than that? No, I get it. Anything
Well, I
other
think
than the grinder and the pump?
Yeah, I mean, I think the breach of contract is my strongest claim here, but the negligence piece, the plumber she hired, Misael Sanchez, was a
It's
apprentice
going to get you the
plumber.
exact same place, Miss Taylor. It doesn't add anything to the cost. Whether she
Okay.
hired a licensed plumber and they done it wrong or not, she still is negligent in not providing you back with the property that has a working sump pump on it, right?
Okay.
That's the breach
Okay.
that happens, and how she breached it.
Okay.
It doesn't change the outcome, because if she's responsible and she brought it back to you damaged, she got to pay to fix it. That would be the law side. All right.
Okay.
Anything other than the pump? So right now I've got the cost for the grinder, the supplies, the diagnosis, and everything it costs to fix it. Were there any other things that you discovered that you're seeking?
Well, I am seeking court fees if and I have the receipts for this.
Your
$54
basic cost of court, that all comes in.
service of process, and then
That
my
counts.
document printing costs because it's expensive to print, and I was planning to come in person, so I printed a bunch of stuff. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Good. Ms. Taylor, you said you brought witnesses from it. I'd like to hear
Yes.
specifically from Texas Reliable.
Okay.
Who's the company that actually did the repair?
Well, Texas Reliable, that's Nestor Vincent is my witness, he was the first on scene, and they're the company that cleared the lines and discovered that it needed total replacement. And then George Canis.
Ms. Taylor, don't testify for him. Let's ask him questions. That is the way to do that, right? What you're trying to do is tell him what to tell me, and that is improper.
I'm sorry, I was
That's
speaking
okay.
to you of who
Mr.
he was.
Nestor, Mr. Vincent, are you with us?
Yes, ma'am, I am.
Can you adjust your camera so I can see more than, because what I'm getting is sort of the top of your head? Oh, that's much better. Fantastic. Good morning, sir. Thank you for being with us. I'm Judge Holmes. Will you please state your full name for me?
Nestor Vincent.
Will you raise your right hand, sir? Mr. Vincent, do you understand that by appearing in court and offering testimony, you're swearing that you will tell me the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth under a penalty of perjury? Do you so swear?
Yes, I do.
Fantastic. Thank you. Put your hand down. All right. Mr. Vincent, what do you do for a profession?
I am a plumber.
What type of license do you hold for that?
I hold a apprentice plumbing license.
Who's your master plumber that's responsible for your work?
My master plumber.
Yeah.
We work with solo plumbing.
All right. Are you at the absolute top level of plumbers, or is there a level you can be at above apprentice?
There is one more above me, but I carry my apprentice license.
What's the level above yours?
Journeyman.
Journeyman as well. Okay. How long have you been an apprentice, sir?
Uh, 5 years.
What year did you first become a licensed plumber, sir?
What year? Okay. Where are we? 2026, 2020, 2021, somewhere around there.
All right. And in your time as a plumber, have you worked for how many businesses have you worked for, sir?
I've actually was self-employed. I was working construction by myself,
As a plumber?
plumber and builder.
All right. How did you come to work for Texas Reliable?
I was working here with a real estate agent. It's a long story, but I was working here with a real estate agent came from California. I met the owner of Texas Reliable Services, and he asked me what was what I know about construction. So I told him what I did for the other person, and one day the real estate agent said, "I don't have no more work for you." I called the owner, and he said, "Yeah, come and work for me." And from there, I've been working for Texas Reliable Services.
When was that, sir?
When was that? About 4 years ago.
So you've been a plumber about 1 year and then you got hired by Texas Reliable?
Yes.
So what year would you say you started working for them?
22, 23.
All right, Mr. Vincent, did you do any of the work in 2023 on the plaintiff's home about that sump pump or the drain pump?
On 2023, no, I believe I did not.
Had you worked on this pump or that casita or the plumbing at the property prior to being called out in May of 2025?
No.
Is it fair to say then that your visit in May was the first time you'd ever been to the plaintiff's property?
Yes, I was. That's the first time I was there.
What day did you go and make the initial diagnosis or the first visit to the plaintiff's property? What day was that?
What day was that? May 1st?
Did you go by yourself or did you have other people with you?
No, it was by myself.
When you left that day for work, are you assigned something by like someone at the Texas Reliable? Do they tell you, here's the job we have and the task expected of you? Or is it just go out to an address and find out what they need?
No, but how it works is customer calls in with the issue, and we have a house call where it tells us what the customer notes are. So we read from there and we go from basis. From that we get our load our van and go and see what's going on.
All right, so customer says they think they know what's going on. You've got to go out and really diagnose whether or
Yes.
not that's accurate. Which I
Yes,
get it. I've thought I had a problem and it turned out completely something different. So, all right. So you went out there. Do you remember about what time of the day you got there?
No, I don't, ma'am. I
That's totally fine. It's from May of
give
last
you.
year. I don't expect you to know these things.
I do.
Sometimes it stands out, or it's on a note, like it was your first of the day or it's the
Yeah,
last
it's
of the day.
I have it here in my computer. It's I put on my way at 2:46, so I probably got there around 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Okay. Do your notes indicate what you discovered that first day?
Yes, they do. It's the same notes that were presenting to you.
That one we saw earlier?
Yeah, that's all my diagnostics and repair and what we found there.
Mr. Vincent, when you were there and you're inspecting, do you take any photos of the scene, or I call it the scene, I'm sorry, of the plumbing?
Yes, ma'am. We have to take pictures before and after we do if we perform any type of job or work to it.
Have you had a chance to review your notes from that day or your photos?
Yes, I have it here in front of me.
Okay. Mr. Vincent, when you went out and you're looking at what you recall and you're being refreshed by looking at your notes and your photos, what specifically did anything immediately stand out to you? Is there something immediately wrong with what you saw?
Well, yes, the the grinder pump where it usually the pipes discharge up was full of water and it was feces and toilet paper on top. You could see the clear dirty water on top and all that, and like mud all over the place on top of the lid.
And Mr. Vincent, had you ever worked with grinder pumps before?
Yes, ma'am.
And typically, how do they look?
Well, they don't look as dirty as that one, or compromised with dirt on top of them. They're usually sealed with a cover and to prevent all that dirt going in there.
When you say they're usually sealed with a cover, does that mean that sometimes they're not?
Yes, it's owner preference if they want to seal it or not.
Could you tell from looking at that item if there had been a cover on it?
Yes, no, there was no cover to it. If
That's what I'm
not,
saying. Is it possible to look at it? Like I can look at a car and see that it's missing its hood because I can see
yes.
the engine and know that it used to be there, right?
Well,
Could you, looking at it, see that there had once been a cover or not, or is it just impossible to tell?
well, as a plumber, yes, you would know if there was a cover or not, but a certain person that's not knowledgeable about grinder pumps wouldn't know the difference.
Yeah, but I'm asking you. You are knowledgeable, Mr. Vincent. You're the plumber. You go out that day. You're looking at it.
Yes,
From your expert opinion, looking at it, does it look like something where there had once been a cover it's missing, or is it impossible to tell whether or not there'd ever been a cover?
No, it wasn't impossible to tell if there was a cover or as when I saw it.
So do you believe there had been a cover that you could see was missing?
No, I don't believe there was a cover to it.
You don't think there'd ever been a cover? Because you can't
Yes,
tell. All right. No way
a
to tell.
cover for the pump, but not the tank. Two different.
Two different things?
Yes.
Which one was this missing?
The cover for to seal to prevent the dirt to get, but from the dirt, and the cover to the tank was there, but it was broken.
And okay, so there's a cover for a tank. It's there, but it's broken.
Yes.
And then is there's a cover for something else?
Usually there's a cover for it on top, but it wasn't installed to it. due
It
to
wasn't installed to what?
to the tank that's there. This tank is not
Okay,
didn't
Mr.
have a
Vincent.
cover for it. Yeah,
So you said that there's no cover on the tank, and I got that. But you also
yes.
said there's two covers.
Yes, ma'am. One is to cover the actual tank where the grinder pump is submerged into,
Okay.
and it gets sealed with screws and bolts and all that, so it can stay sealed and nothing will go in there, even though there's no other thing to cover it.
What's the other cover for?
Cosmetics, so you won't see no pipes or anything like that coming out.
Are these in the same thing, or is it like there's a cover for the tank and there's a cover on the pipes over here?
No, it's the same. It's the same. It's not. They're not the same. One is comes with the tank. That it's
Do you have
already.
a photo? That would probably help me out. I don't know what we're talking about. Do you have a photo? Because I'd love to see this. I have no idea what a grinder pump is.
I don't know how to put a photo to here, or can you?
Mr. Vincent, if you have it pulled up on your laptop, we can allow you to share your screen with us. And it's on a different laptop?
Yes.
Yes, hold on. Let me see if I can.
Ms. Taylor, any chance you have any of those photos that were submitted in advance? Oh yeah, don't worry about it, Mr. Vincent. I can't see that at all. But I appreciate it, but let's move along. Maybe it won't be necessary. Okay.
Your Honor, I do have a photo I can get. Give me a minute and I can get it
That's
to the
fine.
court or on my
All right.
screen. So
Mr.
you can
Vincent,
see
come
what
on.
he's talking about.
All right. So, Mr. Vincent, you go out that day, you take a look at it, you find that the grinder pump is full of water, you can see toilet paper and sewage in it, you say it's not usually that dirty, and that there's no cover on it. And you couldn't tell if it had a cover, you could just see that this one, well, here's where I'm confused, Mr. Vincent. First you said there's no cover, and then you said the cover is broken. So
Yes,
is there no cover, or is there a broken cover, or both?
There's a broken cover to it.
A broken cover. And the broken cover is the broken cover to the pump?
Yes, to the pump tank. To pump
Okay.
where the grinder pump is installed.
Okay. Mr. Vincent, when you looked at it, as someone who's been in the business for 4 or 5 years now, when you go to look at plumbing work, for this particular instance, this is what I'm asking about, that day when you're there in May, could you ascertain whether or not someone had worked on that device in recent weeks? Could you see that it looked like anyone had touched it or done any repairs to it?
Yes, ma'am. It was visible.
Repairs were visible?
Yes.
What did you notice? What gave it away that said something has touched this, there has been a repair recently?
Well, first of all, it's missing the screws that are installed to keep the broken cover sealed. And it was, like I said, it's broken, and the pipes were connected with a plastic connector, a plastic coupling. That means somebody repaired it, cut it, and put it in to repair something or open it.
All right. Anything else that highlighted for you? Someone's been here recently and touched this?
Just that, and it was broken because I guess they try to take it out without removing the pipes, and that's what take the lid out, the cover, without removing the actual pipes.
Is that a mistake?
Yes, they have to kind of remove the pipes that discharge the line, so they can move the whole lid off and then service the pump. So it's a whole process that you have to remove pipes and all that.
In your opinion, when you looked at it, did it appear that the person before you had done the process correctly or wrong?
It was wrong. It wasn't done correctly.
That day, when you're there, were you able to ascertain who had done the work?
No, ma'am, we did not ask nobody who had it.
There wasn't like a little sticker that said so-and-so's plumbing been here. Like
Mhm.
they put that on my garage door. They put this little sticker so I know who the last person was to service it. Nothing like that.
No, ma'am.
Okay. All right. So you get done on the first. You sent over your information to the plaintiff, and eventually you send that invoice. Were you one of the people who went out and fixed the pump later?
No, ma'am, I was not.
Okay. All right. Ms. Taylor, I've asked a lot of questions. They got me what I was interested. Are there any questions that you have for Mr. Vincent that you wanted to ask him that I did not already cover?
I don't know how relevant this is that the grinder pump was replaced in July of 2023. I do have a receipt on that. Nestor said he's never been there. There were other plumbers on it, it shows, but
That's
maybe
fine.
that's
Just,
not
do you
really
have any
so
questions for
relevant.
Mr. Vincent? Yeah. Anything
I
about
was
what
trying to
he
think.
did that day on the first?
No, I don't. And I do have a picture of the grinder pump if that helps you to
Okay. Let me take a look
conceptualize
at it
what.
a minute. Thank you. All right
Sure.
then.
I sent it to the court, or I can share it.
That's fine. All right.
Okay.
Ms. Breen, do you have any questions for Mr. Vincent?
I do not, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right. Mr. Vincent, thank you for your testimony this morning. I'll ask that you stay with us for at least a little bit longer in the hearing, just in case I need to revisit or ask you questions as a follow-up, right? It may be that Ms. Breen has brought someone as well. So please stay with us. You're welcome to turn your camera off and be on mute, but don't leave the courtroom yet, okay?
Okay, ma'am, that's fine.
Thank you very much then. All right. Ms. Taylor, other witnesses?
Yes, let's call George Canis of Solo Plumbing.
Okay. Mr. Canis, give me some background information about you. Are you a licensed plumber as well?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And what is your status as a plumber?
I'm a responsible master plumber. The highest there is, ma'am.
Is that like a journeyman?
No, higher than a journeyman, ma'am. I'm a responsible master plumber. I own my own business. I'm allowed to pull permits, and I deal with city inspections and all the other goodies that come with the state of Texas.
All right. And you own your own business, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
And that is?
Solo Plumbing Services, LLC, ma'am.
Plumbing Services. All right. All right, Mr. Canis. Now, I heard testimony from Mr. Vincent that he effected some work on the first. Did you do any work on this property related to the pump that we're here about?
Yes, ma'am. Actually, Texas Reliable Service. I'm actually their subcontractor as a plumber for them. When it comes to big builds or jobs that are call it that are needing like a little more experience and stuff like that.
Okay.
And I usually do all their stuff. So what happened was they usually do my when I have a clog or a drain, I have a client that has a clog drain or something, they usually go out and do it for me because they have the equipment. I'm just getting a little older. I don't carry the equipment with me, so I always call them or I request them to come out and help me do that. So I know that when they came out when Nestor, which I know Nestor came out, I know that he had what do you call it done work for me before, but yeah, they had told me about it when Susan called me and told me that, hey, there was those guys from TRS came out and they told us there was an issue with the
Mr. Canis,
Mhm.
Mr. Canis, let's stop right there because
Oh,
I want to make a timeline here. So
okay.
You first heard from Miss Taylor. When did you hear from her?
Probably I want to say maybe a day after they got the diagnostics from TRS.
Okay. So in your understanding of things, Miss Taylor called TRS, they went out, they inspected it, they diagnosed it. After she got the diagnosis, she contacted you about following through and getting those repairs made.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That is correct.
After Mr. Vincent's inspection. And then did Miss Taylor, when she contacted you, I know she told you orally what, or maybe wrote in, did she provide you with what Mr. Vincent had found with his diagnosis or his notes?
Yeah, she did read it to me. She just told me what they saw and or what they had or what they told her what was wrong with it. Yes, she did tell me.
All right. And then did she eventually hire your company to replace the pump?
Yes, ma'am. She asked me to go out there and look at getting the repair done.
And when did you go out and take a look?
I want to say probably maybe the following day, ma'am. I'm not 100%. But I know it's within probably a day or so I was out there because I know it was bad from what the notes. So I knew it had to be taken care of right away.
Did you make more than one visit, or were you able to go out and fix it in the same
Went out the same day, ma'am.
Same day? Do
Hmm.
you have notes for what day you made that repair?
No, ma'am, I do not. I'm not gonna lie to you about that. I do not, ma'am.
Please don't. Do you know if you sent an invoice or a bill to Miss Taylor for your work?
Yes, yes, I did. My office did. Yes, ma'am.
And I think we looked at those, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So
Should be solo.
other than Miss Taylor, I'm just gonna real quickly, other than the text message, did you get any kind of formal invoice from Solo?
I did, and I know I have it. I can try to get it into the court. I've got it
Yeah.
on my computer somewhere. But yes, I did a formal invoice that looks, something more official and
Yeah, go
professional.
ahead and send that in and we'll take it back. Mr.
Okay, let
Canis,
me dig around for it. I'll get it to you.
Mr. Canis, what
Yes,
work did you perform at the plaintiff's property?
Okay, when I went out there, ma'am, I confirmed with what the note showed on TRS that the grinder pump was damaged. The lid was broken. When they were trying to explain to you, there's two lids. Okay, on a grinder pump, it comes in a tank that has a lid already built on it, and then there's another lid that actually covers the piping. So it's more of a cosmetic lid. It looks like a little green dome that goes over the piping, so you don't see these pipes sticking out in your backyard. So that's what the second one. It does help keep debris out of the top of the original tank lid, but this one didn't have it.
So, Mr. Canis, let me, I was gonna say drill down, but that's technical language. Let me get this clear.
Mhm.
So the item that needed to be fixed, that was broken, is the pump, the grinder pump.
It's inside that tank. Yes, ma'am.
That's inside a tank. And at
Yeah.
the top of that tank, there's a lid.
There's a lid on it. It's a solid lid with screws all the way around, has a seal on it, and everything
Okay.
has little donut seals when the piping comes out of it. Yes, ma'am.
And that lid is necessary for the safety and performance of it. It's the one that goes on top of the pipes that's cosmetic, and that's a nice to have, but is not required.
Not required, ma'am. Exactly.
Okay. Is the lid, though, that covers the grinder pump, is that a required item, the one that's screwed down?
Yes, ma'am.
That one is not that is a necessity. The other one's an
That-
optional one, but this one, okay, that one
Exactly.
needs to be done. When you looked at that item,
Hmm.
the one that must be there, what did you discover? Were the screws missing?
Yes, there were screws missing, ma'am.
Okay. Other than the screws missing, if you had the screws, could you have reattached it? Would it be working, or was it broken in some other?
No, you can see that it was being cut and it had been pulled. Either they tried to pull the lid off because there was cracks in the lid, and they actually had duct tape wrapped around the piping where they had lost there's little donuts that go around, or little grommets that go for the piping to go through, so it keeps it water sealed. Those were broken and are missing on the lid.
Did you take any photos that day?
Yes, I did, ma'am. I think they might be with my invoice, ma'am. I usually send photos with my invoice.
All right, Miss Taylor, any chance you received photos?
I did receive photos from George. I don't, I'd have to find them. I'm sure I can find them if you'd like me to submit those. I did submit the invoice. Maybe they're attached to that document.
Okay, no,
Yeah, no,
worries.
they're
I'm just
not.
curious. I'm just curious.
Okay.
All right, witness took photos that day. All right, Mr. Canis,
Yes, ma'am.
because the lid was broken,
Mhm.
could you ascertain, in your experience, you said that how long have you been in your profession, Mr. Canis? I did not get that. I asked you your official title, but not your time in that work.
I've been a plumber since I was 15 years old, ma'am.
You look very young to me, so I'm gonna need something more than that.
That's very kind of you, ma'am.
More than 2 decades?
Uh,
5 years?
I'm 56, so I'd say,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. 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 4 years in the business. All right. We're all young.
In heart.
Listen, I'm testifying for myself. We're all young. Okay. All right. What is Mr. Canis, then, with your experience and several decades in the business and with your advanced knowledge of it, did you make any conclusions based upon what you witnessed as to why the pump was failing?
Yes, ma'am. When I noticed that it was unplugged, and usually when someone unplugs it, because there is alarm that will go off, ma'am, and it's like a annoying alarm, kind of like a school bell alarm, goes off with a flashing light. Will tell you, because there's two float assemblies inside there. One is to discharge the water working normally, and one is an emergency float. If the water gets to a certain level inside that tank, the float will go up, the alarm will go off, and the light will flash, and that will tell you that your grinder pump is either clogged or your line is clogged. Somebody came out and looked like they had pulled the plug because they unplugged it. Then you can see that they took the top off and looked like they tried to do maybe either try to stick their hand in there to adjust the float inside the tank, but at the same time they allowed a bunch of rock and dirt and debris inside there that got to the bottom. And the pump sits towards the bottom, and it has a little grinder teeth on the bottom of the pump, so it sucks underneath. It has like a little teeth with grinders, and it grinds up any fine particles and we'll shoot it up and then shoot it through the line out towards the sewer main.
Is that situation where as you described it, is that something that could have occurred naturally, or was it the result of human intervention?
No, it's human intervention, man, because if the tank being the lid being solid on the tank, or on the tank lid being solid on the grinder pump itself, the grinder pump will, like I said, will go off, and you will know the annoying alarm. Then you would know that, hey, you know what? I got a clogged line. You have a clean out. There is a shut off, so you don't have nothing discharging in your line, so you can open it up to let the pressure out to allow that to be repaired. Then you would go ahead and do your repairs. And usually on those lines that are discharged, they have unions on there, so you can take them apart, so you can actually don't have to keep cutting the pipe. There's unions on there. That way you can break the unions, and then you take the screws out, and then you pull the whole assembly out in one piece with the grinder pump to go ahead and clean it and repair it. But that wasn't done correctly. That was done wrong. They tried to lift the top up, end up breaking the top, allowing debris inside there, and then that's what destroyed the pump.
Okay. Ms. Taylor, are there any questions you have for Mr. Canis?
I think you did a pretty good job covering the most important aspects of what we're here for. So I don't think anything I could ask would be necessary or relevant at this point.
All right.
But
Thank you. Ms. Breen, do you have any questions for Mr. Canis about his testimony?
I do not, Your Honor. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Canis, I'll give you the same thing. Please stick with us just a bit longer in case we need to revisit. Remain still under oath. You're welcome to turn your camera off, though. You don't have to stick around and look lovely with us. All right.
Let me weather outside.
I don't disagree. Looks pretty okay. All right.
I'm in Austin, Texas, so yeah.
Me too. All right.
Oh, okay.
It's teasing you with rain.
Yeah, it's not too bad outside. Nice cool breeze.
All right. Ms. Taylor, do you have any other witnesses or evidence that you want to present?
I do have witness Jesse Leger, who is my next door neighbor.
Okay. What information does he have?
Jesse has information about that there was water back there prior to the new tenant moving in, which I think is relevant. That he did notice. He does work on my property, and I had him go back there to do some trimming of shrubs. So he can give testimony that there was some wet earth before, and then he also did discover on April 20th, after the new tenant moved in, and alerted me to the major problem that was going on, but that it was pre-existing prior to the new tenant moving in, which I feel like is potentially relevant information.
I don't think there's any dispute that Ms. Breen made a repair to the pump, right?
Right. No, there's no dispute on that. That's correct.
I'd like to hear from Ms. Breen then.
Okay. So we don't need Mr. Leger?
It may be possible. Mr. Leger, thank you for being with us. But right now, Ms. Taylor met sort of the basics of your framework. Okay.
Looks beautiful, man.
Mr. Cass, I'm going to mute you. Okay. All right. Good morning, Ms. Breen. Thank you for being with us.
Good morning, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right. Now, you have a chance to make a statement as well before you begin with actual testimony. Would you like to make a short statement?
Yes, please.
Absolutely.
So myself and my spouse moved into Ms. Taylor's residential property on August 25th, 2024. I got notice of job acceptance in Ohio, so we had to relocate in March. Just kind of recapping the timeline. Ms. Taylor had done a walkthrough of the inspection of the property, mentioned that the back screen door was missing, which I had forgotten about. And that was the only damage or anything that had come up in the inspection. I helped secure a new tenant that Ms. Taylor approved. And then the new tenant the walkthrough was done April 2nd. The new tenant took tenancy of the property on April 14th. The landlord returned our deposit to us on April 17th, in the amount of $2,500, reserving $250 for carpet cleaning, which was pre-negotiated in the lease, and then another $250 to replace the back screen door, which I felt was more than fair. My husband and I had the property cleaned, and we also paid for a lawn mowing right before the new tenant just moved in, just as a nice faith gesture, and left a patio heater and a couple other things by request of the new tenant. And then on May 1st was when the first communication happened about any grinder pump issues. And Ms. Taylor had just asked what had been done to the grinder pump at that point, because I don't think we had ever talked about what ended up happening. I had hired a plumber. We had Airbnb guests.
Oh, okay, Ms. Breen, you're beginning to move into testimony.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
No, that's okay. So let's just do that, right? Because essentially your opening is kind of moving into your testimony about what happened.
Sure.
Because ultimately, what I want to know is there a specific reason why you say you are not responsible for a faulty repair to the binder?
Well, I just don't know who did the faulty repair. I don't know if it was done by the plumber that we hired, by someone before that, by the new tenant, by anyone else that had access to the property. So because the inspection was already done, the new tenant had already moved in, the deposit was already returned. I didn't feel responsible that was for me to take care of. I felt very bad for Miss Taylor, and at one point was going to chip in a little bit of money, but then there was a lot of accusing.
Okay, Ms. Breen, your defense is based upon, yes, I repaired it, but I think I repaired it correctly, and the new tenant was there for 6 days, she broke it.
No, I have no idea if she broke it or not.
But that's the possibility, because you believe you repaired it correctly. All right, so let's get to the repair. Okay, Ms. Breen, you've already been sworn in, so there's no dispute at all that you leased the property and that you were allowed to sublet it, and you did sublet the Casita?
Correct, yes.
How many times in the length of your tenancy did you sublet the Casita?
I don't know for sure. I'm guessing maybe 8 to 10.
What was the last tenant that you had in the Casita before the repair that you took?
The last tenant, I don't remember. Then Brittany was the first name. It was an Airbnb. This was all through Airbnb. That tenant never said anything about the
I just want to know the dates, Ms. Breen. What day
Oh,
was
I'm
that
sorry.
there?
Okay. Let me pull that up. The last tenant left on March 20. Oh, before the repair. I'm sorry. March 9th.
And how long had that
No,
tenant?
I'm sorry, that's not correct. Apologies, I don't have that information handy.
All right. What day? How did you discover that there was a repair needed?
The Airbnb guest messaged me through Airbnb and said that there was water coming up through the shower drain, and that it was coming over the edge of the shower into the bathroom.
When was that?
That was the Let me look at my dates. It was February 18th.
All right. What actions did you take after you received that message?
I asked if it was okay if I stopped into the property to check on the situation, and there was water coming out of the shower.
So, Ms. Breen, you went and visited the property.
Correct.
When was that?
The night of February 18th.
So that night you went and looked at it.
Correct.
Okay. Did you have to effect a repair?
Did I what?
Did you call someone to come out and look at it or repair it?
I contacted both preferred plumbers from Miss Taylor's note that she left on the counter for us. George Canis called multiple times, texted, and then Texas Reliable Service called talked to a gentleman there.
Ms. Breen, was that night, the next day,
No,
a
it
few
was,
days
yes,
later?
that night.
That night. And did you speak to either of the plumbers that evening on the 18th?
I did speak to Texas Reliable Services, yes.
Did any work get done that night?
Yes, but not by either of those parties.
Who did come out?
Michelle Sanchez of Sanchez Plumbing LLC.
Had you ever used that company before?
I had not.
How did you locate that company?
I was part of a Facebook group called Contractor Connection in Austin that I had used multiple times for some properties that I had renovated and had really good luck with finding contractors on there.
So you used a Facebook site to locate the plumber?
Correct.
Okay, but you had no prior experience with them?
Correct.
Did you check any reviews?
Yes, Your Honor. And I checked license, had a current and active plumbing license for the LLC.
Where did you check that information?
I don't recall, Your Honor.
Did you actually confirm they were valid, or did you just ask them for the numbers? Because that's my question, right?
No. I went into where you can see if there's active licenses for companies in Austin. I don't recall
When did
the
you check
exact
that?
that night before I asked him to come work on the property.
What's the name of the company or the plumber? Was it an
Sanchez.
individual or was it a company?
A company, Sanchez Plumbing LLC.
Sanchez Plumbing LLC. Do you have the name of the specific plumber who worked on the property?
Yes, I don't know how to, Misael, Misael Sanchez.
What time did they arrive?
Around 9:30, I believe.
How long did it take them to fix it?
About an hour and a half.
Did they send you a bill afterward?
They did not. He messaged me about sending an invoice. I gave him my email, and then I did not receive an invoice.
Did you pay him?
I did pay him. I actually didn't remember that I hadn't paid him until Miss Taylor texted me about what was done. So I reached out, or I went back to my message.
Ms. Breen.
Yeah,
A plumber came out at 9:30 at night and spent an hour and a half, and they didn't ask you to pay them that night, and they never sent you a bill,
correct.
and you didn't remember to pay them.
Correct. He asked for my
When
email
did you finally pay them?
the day that Miss Taylor texted me because I realized I had never paid him.
And when was that? Is that in May?
Yes, correct.
So March and April passed with this plumber who was licensed, who came out at 9:30 at night, and he never asked for payment?
Correct.
How did you actually pay him? Did you have to call him and say, hey, I owe you money?
I messaged him and said, we never settled up on this. What do I owe you? And then paid him via Venmo.
How much did you end up paying him via Venmo?
$325.
Did he ever give you an invoice of what work he did?
He did not. I gave him my email and I never received an invoice.
And as a result of this lawsuit, did you reach out to him as a witness?
I did not.
Why not?
He had never responded to my messages after I had messaged him after Miss Taylor messaged me, I messaged him to settle up and then asked for the invoice, and he had never sent it.
Ms. Breen, that's a flaw for your defense, because Ms. Taylor is establishing a more likely than not here. As the tenant, and here you're actually the landlord because you had the right to be the landlord of the tenant, you are responsible for the repairs that you effect on that property. If she has come in a reasonable time, and I find that within a month is a reasonable time for her to discover that the supposed repair you made is defective, the single greatest thing you could have done to defend yourself is to bring me the person who repaired it and say, nope, I did it right. But you have neither an invoice, you have no evidence, you have no photos, you don't even have the plumber here. She has two licensed plumbers who have just testified that the work they discovered within a month of your repair was faulty and done incorrectly. That is more likely than not de facto proof that the repair you took under, your plumber did it wrong, and as a result, the property has been damaged, and that's going to go to Ms. Taylor. Do you have any information? I am Ms. Breen. I recognize that you are not intentionally doing anything, but do you have any information whatsoever to show me that the plumber you hired did good work?
I just know that he, as of that date, was actively licensed through the state of Texas.
With love and respect to lawyers, a lot of us have licenses. That doesn't mean you'd want to hire them.
Yeah, correct.
Simply being a licensed plumber is great, right? That gets you over the threshold. But now we're saying that two other licensed plumbers say that he did a bad job and he intentionally broke something, and it's that break that resulted in an actual repair, a more expensive repair later.
Correct. I didn't have any reason to think anything of it because the plumbing was working perfectly after that. We had multiple Airbnb guests after that, no plumbing issues, no backups.
Did you have more guests after that?
Yes.
Do you have those dates?
Yes.
But not the one who was there before.
The one that was there before, I tried to go back on Airbnb and I can't go back that far in the history, so that's why I don't have the exact dates.
Can you look in your listen? Here's the thing.
I tried looking everywhere for
I
dates.
appreciate that, but Ms. Taylor is establishing with more likely than not that repairs that your licensed plumber undertook were done wrong or were faulty, and it's because of those bad repairs that a subsequent repair was needed later.
We were not aware of any plumbing issues from the time of that repair until the move out or until move in of new tenant and text messages from Miss Taylor.
I think that's probably accurate, Ms. Breen, based on what I heard from Mr. Newton and from Mr. Canis, or from Mr. Vincent and Mr. Canis. Mr. Canis was very illustrative, right? What he said is that whoever the repair was, and it sounds like the Sanchez company that did it, is what I'm finding to be more likely than not who affected a bad repair. They broke it as they pulled it up, and then they kind of covered it up, and then you probably don't know what you're looking at. Did you go and inspect the repair after it was done?
I did not.
So we all just assumed because no one complained, it must have been good. But the tenant left Airbnb, they may be like, listen, I'm good, I'm out of here, right? Not my problem, I'm done. But Mr. Canis, when he came out, he said that it's clear someone broke it in attempting the repair. And because they didn't cover it correctly over time, sediment got to the bottom, and as it settles, it keeps grinding. That's what broke it, which also goes along with why you wouldn't have heard about it immediately. And it came upon about a month and a half later. So all of that is reasonable and understandable and follows within what we'd expect to hear from a case like this.
Right, but how do we know that there wasn't any issue or damage prior to that? That was just also time would pass and the pump would.
Ms. Breen, that is where your plumber would be able to testify as to the state it was when he went for the repair. Right? I don't know, and neither do you. But Ms. Taylor has brought evidence from two plumbers who did have personal knowledge of a repair, and both of them said the same thing, and that meets the more likely than not burden.
There was a time period of the new tenant on the property that
I don't find that to be reasonable, Ms. Breen. I think it is much more likely an outcome that the plumber who did not bill you or invoice you did it wrong. Lots and lots of concern about the fact that a plumber came out at night and never sought payment or an invoice.
Understood.
Right? That's a credibility issue for that has been countered very clearly by two plumbers who are licensed. So, all right.
I do want to note that. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, Ms. Breen.
I just wanted to note that we never unplugged the grinder pump alarm. It was likely unplugged before we took tenancy because it had never alarmed or sounded or flashed during any of the backups or anything like that. So it was probably unplugged prior to our arrival at the property.
I don't know. All right. Ms. Taylor, you had the cost for the repair.
I'm sorry, Your Honor.
Your cost for your repair altogether.
Oh, one moment.
We went through that. We'll see. I had originally you said $4,882.14.
That's the total that I'm seeking. That includes the court costs.
Okay. So it was $11.14 for the grinder pump, $48 for supplies, $189.79 for the remainder of the supplies, $2,500 for the labor, cost of court, and you said your copy expenses?
Right. So I have that on Exhibit 13. It's all mapped out. I deleted a couple of expenses that are on your copy of that because I'm not seeking those anymore since we're doing this by Zoom. So I've deleted that cost. So it should come out to $4,882.14, which would include all the repairs plus court fees and printing costs.
Now, that includes your cost of court.
It does.
And your actual cost of court, because we have to pull that out of that.
Okay, that's fine. Actual cost of court was the $54 to file for small claims. Service of process number 1 was $95. We had to serve again because Ms. Breen evaded service, another $95 there. And then printing cost of $40.92.
I did not evade, Your Honor.
Miss Breen, I don't found you a Breen at all. I appreciate that, Miss Taylor. She didn't debate anything. You got a server, right? I don't find that either party acted badly. There's no misintent here, right? I want to say that right clearly here. I think both landlords both acted like landlords, and sometimes y'all don't do what you're supposed to do, and then you come to court. I hear Miss Taylor did not properly inspect her property. Miss Breen, you also didn't do it very properly. So both of you are in a situation that is not atypical or uncommon. Neither of you are bad parties. Neither of you behaved badly in your situation. You've behaved very much like plaintiffs and tenants. Okay. So I want to leave it at that. I say that both parties behaved as expected, and you both behaved fine and dandy. The court doesn't seem that either party's doing anything wrong, right? This is a contract dispute, and that's the reason courts exist. So I do want to leave it at that. There's no intent, there's no misintent. I don't hear that from either side. All right. But actual damages to the plaintiff, judgment is $4,733, and then to that we would award $54 in filing fees and $95 for service.
Your Honor, did you come? There were 2 service of process.
I'm giving you $95 for service, Miss Taylor, and $54. You're getting one. You're getting $47.33 plus $54.95 for your service and your fees, and then that will accrue interest post judgment. Both parties can appeal.
Could you say the total amount again? I'm sorry.
$4,733, and in addition to that, you're getting $54 for filing and $95 for service, and that's your judgment. That judgment will accrue interest at 6.75%. Either party can appeal within 21 days.
Your Honor, I have a question.
Yes, Miss Bright.
So for the $95, because our court doesn't have record of that, is that just implied?
You can add it to the actual fee. So you could put her actual damages, add that there. She's a private server.
Yeah, because it shows 0 on our end.
Put it, her actual damage will be $48.28, and her cost of court's $54.
Understood.
All right, that's great, y'all. All right. And neither of y'all live in Texas anymore, is that right?
That's correct. Yeah.
All right. Well, I envy y'all an actual summer in 4 seasons.
Thank you. Your Honor, in terms of procedural directives, do I need to file for writ of execution, or is this something Ms. Breen and I work out? I'm not sure what my next step is to collect.
Ms. Taylor, I can't actually advise you about that because that would be legal advice to say that you have all of your options post-judgment for any type of post-judgment collection. Certainly, parties can always just contact each other.
Sure. Okay.
Both parties have the right to appeal. All right. But yeah, y'all, there's nothing that stops. There's no legal prohibition from y'all contacting each other after this and discussing it.
To work out agreement on the payment. Otherwise, I pursue my legal remedies for that.
There's other ways to go about it.
Okay.
All right. Thank y'all very much then.
Thank you.
Ms. Taylor, I've answered your question. Ms. Breen, did you have any last questions?
No, thank you, Your Honor.
All right. And let me thank as well, Mr. Leger. Thank you for coming as a witness. I know we didn't read your testimony, but I appreciate that you were here. Mr. Vincent and Mr. Canis, thank you both for your testimony this morning. Truly, really helpful for an issue that, what's a pump? We all learned a little bit today. Okay. Thank you all very much.